Alrighty, final step. We have designed our landing page. We have integrated that landing page into the CRM. Now we're ready to set up a traffic source so we can begin taking sales from third parties. So the very first thing we want to do is we're going to go over to the menu. We're going to drop down, we're going to go to traffic sources. What we need to do is we need to add our traffic source that we have previously added into the CRM. Some CRMs you have to add it, other ones you don't. In this instance, we're going to use a CRM where you do have to add your traffic source to the CRM. We also need to add those here inside of Subscribe. Whether you've added it to a CRM or not, it needs to be put in here into Subscribe, and that helps us fire the pixels properly on the page. Very first thing we want to do, we're going to click the add button. I'm going to type in the name, demo affiliate. And right here where it says ID on CRM, I actually have one created already. I'm going to take that ID from the CRM, pop it in here. If you don't have it set up in the CRM and the CRM allows you to put in any affiliate ID, you can just type in whatever you want. So I can type in the word affiliate if I want. Affiliate 1, 2, 3, it doesn't really matter. In this instance, the CRM has it, so we have an ID for that. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Perfect. Now there's two different ways to set up pixels for this affiliate. We can either go into directly into this affiliate by clicking on the 0 here. It'll show us where our pixels are. I can add a pixel directly from this screen. I've got to do a little bit more work. Demo affiliate, I've got to find the project that it's going to. We did importing a design. That was the name of the project we've integrated. Now right here, we want to type in the campaign ID and the product ID that we want this pixel to fire on. If you remember from the previous video, we set up campaign ID 36 and we set up multiple products. I'm going to show you how to get these pixels to fire with multiple products. So we have campaign ID 36. And then our product IDs start at 296 and go to 298. We can enter them in individually, 296. I can put in my iframe here. I'm just going to put in test pixel, just some dummy HTML. Whatever HTML we put in here, it's going to fire on our landing page when a sale successfully happens on this campaign for that product, for this project, with that affiliate. All right, I'm going to hit save. Now I can put in another pixel utilizing a different product ID, or I can keep this really clean and just add more product IDs to this existing pixel. I'm going to edit this. Between each product ID, I want to have a pipe symbol. So that's above your return button on the right-hand side of your keyboard. It's that straight up and down pipe, 297, pipe 298. Now we have all of our product IDs. We have our campaign ID. We've got our pixel here. This is going to be an iframe, an image pixel, JavaScript, or even a postback URL. We have various different things we can pop into that pixel. Here's all the different tokens. We can send the email address, the TS, which stands for traffic source, that's your affiliate ID. You can pass that back. Your S1, S2, a click ID if they sent that to you, an order ID if they sent that, or you will get an order ID back, so you can pass that in through the URL. A lot of networks want that on a transaction ID. Click IDs usually come through from the network, and then that gets stored in our system underneath a variable we call click ID, and then that gets sent. You can send that back to the pixel. And then all the customer's information if for some reason you want to ping this out to another source. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And that's it. This is one way to set up the pixel. The other way to do it is through the project. So I'm going to go into the actual project itself. I'm going to hit edit, pixels. You can see this one pixel we have set up here. I can edit that pixel. Here it is. Same screen we just saw previously. I can also just add it directly from this screen. And you'll see the project name is already inserted here. This is good if you have a lot of projects on this in your one account. And you have a few traffic sources. You just drop that down, select your traffic source once you're inside of the project already setting up the pixel. And same deal, type in your campaign ID, your product ID. Maybe we want a separate pixel for the upsell. So I'm going to set it up separately. Campaign 36, upsell ID is 299. And then we'll go test upsell pixel. Oops. Save that. That's it for setting up the pixel. Now we need to prepare the URL for the affiliate network or our traffic source to send traffic over to our campaign. I'm going to take this URL here. Let's go ahead and click on that. Perfect. I'm going to pull this little window over so we can explore this here. So here's our URL we have for the campaign. Let's blow this up as large as possible. Oops. Let's get you down underneath here. Blow it up even more. There you go. Here's our URL for the offer. Now, if you have a custom domain, this could say Extreme Keto. Maybe it's Super Duper Diet Pills. I don't know, whatever you want. I'm just going to change the name here. Super Diet Pills. All right, cool. Now what we need to do, we have several different variables we use to track these affiliate sources. Now, inside of Subscribe, we don't necessarily call them affiliates. We call them traffic sources, because a lot of guys that are using this are not using affiliates, but they're driving their own traffic, whether it's Facebook or any other DSP. So we have traffic source. We call that TS on our variables. TS equals, and then whatever our traffic source ID number is. Now in this instance, we're utilizing an ID number that is generated from the CRM. So I'm going to have TS equals and then that affiliate ID. We have S1 equals, and this is the first sub ID, S2 equals, here we go, all lowercase here. And then we have click ID equals. Now, what happens is, let me type in a couple things here. Sub ID 1, sub ID 2, and click ID. All right, now the networks, when you give your link to a network, they're gonna put in a special token on their side to dynamically transfer to you something in your S1, S2, and click ID variable. For instance, Cake Marketing, I believe, does open close curly brackets S1, open close curly brackets S2. Oh no, they do pound. They do a pound sign. So pound S1, pound S2, and then they actually call this rec ID, and then closing pound. Now what we got to do, we have to formulate this into our URL. I'm going to group these all up. I'm going to separate these different TS, S1, S2, and click ID variables with an ampersand. I'm just going to delete ampersand, delete ampersand. Now, what I like to do when I give this to the networks is I don't pre-fill out the S1, S2, S3 unless I'm positive I know what they are. So I just send them to the networks. Let me actually copy this whole line so we save that. We just send it to the networks with the variables in place, and they can put in whatever data they want to. I'm going to take this. At the end of our URL, at the last backslash, I'm going to put a question mark, and then I'm going to type in, or I'm going to paste in our traffic source variables. Let's see here. There you go. It's all on one page, or it should be all on one line. You'll see it's a little bit longer than you can view on the screen. There we go. All on one line. And now what's going to happen is when this traffic source comes into our page, it's going to store in the customer's session, in the customer's cookie. And so when they make the sale, all of this information is going to dynamically transfer over to the CRM. It's also going to store on our pages, and when we see that this traffic source comes through, if certain conditions are met for the pixel, right? If the campaign 36 was purchased on one of these products inside of this project, then that pixel that we placed is going to fire when all of the conditions are met. Now, it is very important that you use this structure here for your tracking link to your affiliate. Take a look at the support article for this. It's going to give you a little bit more in-depth information. Let's actually pull it up on the screen. It's going to give you a little bit more in-depth information on how to set this up for your different traffic sources, explain to you all the different variables. What we do with S1, S2, and S3, all the CRMs have sub-ID variables we can pass them into. Not all of them have a click ID. So we utilize the third sub-ID variable from the different CRMs as the click ID placeholder. When you look inside of, let's say, for example, Sticky.io, you'll see S1, S2, and click ID on their side. When you use Connective, you'll see C1, C2, and C3 as it's outlined here. You'll see a couple examples here of what your link should look like. You also see a couple examples of what it looks like on the Cake platform and then on the HasOffers platform. HasOffers sends over a transaction ID, so on and so forth. But that's it. You can take your tracking link, pass it over to a network. You've placed their pixel. Now you're ready to give it a test. Now let's actually go through and test this link. I'm gonna pull it in here. I'm gonna make a test purchase. And the best way to do this, go 000. All right, rush my order. Let's take a look. I'm going to inspect the code here. And you'll see here it is right here. Test pixel has fired successfully. Now let's do another test. Let's remove the conditions for this pixel here. Let's say we want it to fire on product ID number 2. Obviously we don't have a product ID number 2. Let's get all the way to the thank you page so we close out this session. Perfect. Let me find my link again. I actually need to clear my cookies here. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do a fresh new test here. All right. So test, start, by number 2. Now we know that this product ID is probably 297. Since it's that middle product. Refresh my order. I'll inspect the element to see if the code is there, and it's not there. You would have seen it right about here in the code. But it's not here, which means we didn't meet the conditions of firing the pixel. In this instance, we changed it to product ID 2. We know we didn't actually purchase a product ID 2 because it wasn't on our landing page, and therefore our pixel didn't fire. That's it. Now you know how to place a pixel, you know how to get it over to your traffic source and test it properly. You have successfully designed a landing page, you've integrated into the CRM, and you are all set for traffic and to take your first sale.